Hello, New York Yankees fans. We have brand new exclusive videos and the latest news for you. Before we get started, we'd like to invite you to join our channel and give this video a like. It's crucial to get exclusive access to the latest updates. Matt Olsen has once again stirred the baseball world with comments that are sending shockwaves through fans and analysts alike. In a candid statement that seems to have caught everyone off guard, Olsen revealed the reasons behind his surprising decision to stay away from one of the most iconic franchises in sports history, the New York Yankees. While speculation had been rampant for months, the superstar first baseman finally pulled back the curtain, hinting at a mix of financial considerations and organizational instability that influenced his decision. The baseball community has been abuzz, with fans, commentators, and former players all trying to dissect what could have motivated such a choice. In a world where high-profile athletes often chase the biggest contracts and the flashiest stage, Olsen's admission adds an entirely new layer to the ongoing conversation about team culture, financial strategy, and personal priorities. Analysts are suggesting that this revelation may signal a broader trend in modern baseball, where players are increasingly weighing organizational stability, team dynamics, and long-term fit over sheer fame or market size. It is a decision that could redefine how top-tier talent approaches free agency in the coming years, raising questions about what truly matters to the sports elite. The comments have ignited a firestorm on social media, with fans dissecting every word and interpreting the underlying messages in different ways. Some see Olsen's remarks as a subtle critique of the Yankees' management style, suggesting that even a franchise known for its deep pockets and storied history may struggle to retain or attract elite talent if organizational priorities are misaligned. Others view it as a bold declaration of independence, a way for Olsen to assert that his career choices are driven not solely by money, but by a desire for an environment where he feels valued, respected, and strategically positioned for success. The tension between salary expectations and organizational performance is not new, yet hearing it articulated so clearly by a player of Olsen's caliber is rare. Every phrase seems to carry the weight of months, if not years, of evaluation, discussions, and careful consideration. Sports networks are replaying his interviews, dissecting the subtext, and speculating about which teams might benefit from Olsen's decision. The narrative has shifted from a simple contract negotiation to a more profound exploration of how players interact with institutions, how loyalty is measured, and how power dynamics shape the decisions that can define entire seasons. Sources close to the situation have hinted that Olsen's decision was not made lightly, suggesting that internal conversations with multiple front offices revealed a concerning trend. Some teams, despite their financial prowess, appear mired in internal turmoil, indecisive leadership, and unclear strategic vision. The Yankees, a team often lauded for its ability to attract marquee talent, may have underestimated the importance of organizational stability in Olsen's calculus. It seems that, in his assessment, the allure of New York and the potential for headlines could not outweigh the perceived risks of joining a franchise grappling with managerial uncertainty and questionable decision-making. In the modern era, where every move is scrutinized under a microscope and social media amplifies every rumor, such decisions are dissected endlessly, and the pressure on athletes is immense. Olsen's candor provides a rare glimpse into the internal decision-making process of elite athletes, showing that considerations go far beyond the surface level of contracts and market exposure. It raises fundamental questions about how much weight athletes place on team culture versus personal gain, and whether the so-called dream destinations are always as desirable as they appear from the outside. The financial element of Olsen's reasoning cannot be ignored, as he explicitly mentioned salary constraints as a factor influencing his decision. While some may interpret this as a complaint about money, others see it as a reflection of careful financial planning and an awareness of market value. In a league where contracts can reach astronomical figures, the negotiation is about more than just raw numbers. It's about perceived value, security, and long-term stability. Olsen appears to be sending a message that even top-tier players are evaluating not just the dollar amount, but the overall package, including team philosophy, leadership quality, and potential for championship contention. Analysts are now speculating whether this shift represents a new era in player negotiations, where transparency and cultural alignment become as important, if not more important, than headline-grabbing figures. The implications could extend far beyond Olsen himself, potentially influencing how other high-profile players approach free agency, how teams structure their offers, and how organizations prioritize stability and leadership to attract talent. This financial consideration is intertwined with broader strategic concerns, creating a complex landscape where every decision is carefully weighed and every action carries ripple effects across the league. Beyond finances and organizational issues, Olsen's remarks seem to hint at personal principles and career philosophy guiding his decision. By explicitly citing reasons that go beyond money, he appears to be signaling that the type of environment in which he chooses to play is critical to his professional fulfillment. It suggests a level of maturity and introspection, a willingness to prioritize long-term satisfaction and alignment with values over the immediate glamour of a high-profile franchise. Fans and commentators alike are interpreting this as a turning point in how athletes publicly communicate their motivations, potentially shifting the narrative away from simple contract talk toward a more nuanced understanding of the relationship between player, team, and legacy. The ripple effects are already being felt in sports talk shows, podcasts, and fan forums, where debates rage about the relative importance of salary versus environment, and whether Olsen's stance might inspire other players to make similarly bold, principle-driven decisions. In essence, this revelation is more than a personal story. It is a cultural moment, challenging long-held assumptions about what motivates elite athletes. The intrigue surrounding Olsen's decision has also fueled speculation about which franchises might now be in the running to secure his services. Teams that have historically been considered less glamorous or financially constrained may now appear more attractive if they offer stability, clarity of vision, and a culture that aligns with Olsen's values. The conversation has shifted from a simple "who will sign him" to a deeper discussion about organizational identity, leadership quality, and strategic positioning in the league. Analysts suggest that Olsen's comments could indirectly pressure teams like the Yankees to re-evaluate internal structures, decision-making processes, and communication with players, highlighting that even franchises with unmatched financial resources cannot ignore cultural factors. The ripple effects extend to contract negotiations across the league, creating a landscape where transparency, stability, and strategic clarity may become key differentiators in attracting elite talent. Fans are captivated not just by the drama of the moment, but by the larger implications for the future of player-team interactions, the evolving priorities of modern athletes, and the shifting balance of power between players and organizations in professional baseball. The aftermath of Olsen's revelation continues to reverberate through the baseball world, and insiders are already speculating about the potential ripple effects on the Yankees' internal operations. Sources suggest that the front office may now face increased scrutiny not just from the public, but from current and prospective players who are watching Olsen's comments closely. If one of the league's premier talents cites instability and leadership concerns as reasons for avoiding the franchise, it sends a subtle yet powerful signal that cultural and managerial reputation is increasingly crucial in talent acquisition. Analysts are debating whether this moment will force the Yankees to rethink their approach to player relations, internal communication, and strategic decision-making, especially as they compete with other franchises that may offer a more stable and player-friendly environment. The question now looms: can a team with unparalleled history and financial clout overcome perceived internal dysfunction, or is this a warning that prestige alone no longer guarantees access to elite athletes? The speculation alone is dominating sports talk programs, with pundits dissecting every nuance of Olsen's comments and attempting to project long-term consequences, both for the Yankees' roster strategy and for the league as a whole. Meanwhile, the conversation around salary dynamics and financial expectations has taken on a new dimension following Olsen's admission. Experts are highlighting that his choice demonstrates an evolved approach to evaluating opportunities, one that balances financial reward with qualitative factors such as team culture, leadership style, and organizational clarity. It is no longer enough to offer a record-breaking contract if the internal environment is unstable or misaligned with a player's professional ethos. This has ignited widespread speculation about how other players might reassess their priorities when negotiating contracts in the future. Will the next wave of free agents increasingly weigh intangible factors as heavily as the monetary components of offers? Olsen's candid explanation seems to suggest so, and the sports media has embraced this narrative, framing it as a potential cultural shift in professional baseball. Analysts argue that this could mark a turning point in how franchises approach roster building, forcing executives to consider psychological and organizational dynamics with the same intensity they apply to scouting, stats, and salary projections. Further fueling speculation is the question of where Olsen might ultimately land, and what type of franchise would meet the combination of criteria he seems to value most. While fans have long assumed that superstar players are naturally drawn to high-profile markets, Olsen's comments challenge that assumption, suggesting that even a smaller market team with a stable front office and coherent strategy could be more appealing than a historically dominant franchise with internal chaos. This opens the door for teams traditionally considered underdogs to make a competitive pitch, leveraging their organizational stability, clear vision, and respect for player agency as key selling points. Industry insiders are analyzing rosters, leadership structures, and management histories, trying to predict which franchises could now realistically be in contention for Olsen services. The speculation alone has captivated the baseball community, driving endless debates across podcasts, YouTube channels, and social media platforms, where fans dissect the implications for competitive balance, market strategies, and player empowerment across the league. But before we continue, please remember to join our channel and give this video a like. Your support allows us to keep bringing you the latest news about the New York Yankees. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments. The broader implications of Olsen's remarks also extend to the perception of the Yankees in the public eye. Historically viewed as a destination for prestige, exposure, and the promise of legacy-defining championships, the franchise now faces a nuanced challenge: how to reconcile its glamorous image with the concerns raised by one of baseball's most prominent stars. Media outlets have been quick to highlight that while the Yankees' resources remain unmatched, the perception of managerial turbulence and unclear strategic priorities could pose obstacles to attracting elite talent. This narrative has already sparked discussions about whether other teams might now have a comparative advantage, not in terms of money, but in creating a professional environment that aligns more closely with the values, expectations, and long-term ambitions of top players. Speculators suggest that Olsen's decision may set a precedent for how future negotiations are conducted, where cultural and organizational credibility becomes a central part of any franchise's pitch to prospective stars. On a more personal level, the story underscores Olsen's approach to career management, which appears to prioritize agency, strategic foresight, and alignment with personal principles over the allure of fame or the promise of headline-grabbing contracts. Commentators are drawing attention to the maturity required to publicly articulate such reasoning, framing it as a message to both the league and fans that career decisions are increasingly multidimensional, encompassing far more than the immediate financial incentive. Analysts posit that this perspective could inspire younger players to consider similar criteria when evaluating potential opportunities, creating a subtle but meaningful shift in the collective mindset of professional athletes. The speculation extends beyond Olsen himself, raising questions about the evolving dynamics between player autonomy and organizational power, and whether a wave of principle-driven decision-making might reshape the league's talent market in the coming years. It is a fascinating narrative that intertwines personal agency, career strategy, and league-wide implications, inviting endless conjecture. Finally, the long-term ramifications for both Olsen and the Yankees remain an open question, fueling ongoing rumor and speculation within the baseball community. The narrative has expanded beyond a single player's choice to touch on the league's evolving power structures, organizational reputations, and the criteria that define elite-level desirability. Observers are already predicting that this story will continue to generate headlines, discussion, and debate as teams, analysts, and fans attempt to project outcomes, anticipate moves, and interpret the underlying messages. Olsen's candid remarks have transformed what could have been a simple free agency decision into a cultural moment, highlighting the complex interplay of personal priorities, financial considerations, organizational credibility, and long-term legacy planning. As speculation continues, the baseball world watches closely, recognizing that the ripple effects may extend far beyond one season, potentially reshaping negotiations, team dynamics, and the very way elite players evaluate their professional destinies for years to come. The intrigue, the analysis, and the rumors are only just beginning, and the story of Olsen and the Yankees may well become a defining chapter in modern baseball history. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the New York Yankees, please subscribe to our channel and give us a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.